Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation. My name is Şevval Kızılkan. Today I'm going to talk about classroom interaction. First of all, our content is why study your own classroom interactions, typical patterns in classroom interaction, how context shapes classroom interaction, communicative reporters in classroom interaction, predictable and unpredictable interaction in classrooms, hotspots in classroom interaction. First of all, why study your own classroom interactions? First one is because it builds mutual understanding. Like teaching is not only transferring information, it's helping students make meaning. And in here we have Paulo Freire, I guess, and he argues that teachers should talk with students, not just to them, like talk with them, not just to them. And this requires finding personal connections and understanding their backgrounds. And second one is use differences as learning resources. And it is students come from diverse cultural and social backgrounds, as you know, which shape how they speak, and research shows that misunderstandings often happen when teachers and students have different communication styles. And we have an example in here in Hawaiian classrooms. Talking story, like multiple speakers at once, was misinterpreted as misbehavior by non-native teachers. Similarly, in Apalchia, I guess, teachers only valued storytelling styles similar to their main town culture. And now we're gonna talk about the other aspects. Every classroom is unique. What I mean by that, research shows that different different social groups communicate differently, but each classroom has its own dynamics. So teachers cannot rely only on general studies. And analyzing your own classroom helps you understand your students or individual interaction styles, and prevents stereotyping, and it improves student success. Rearranging classroom talk based on what you observe can create productive participation, and it's re-energize teachers. Teacher burnout is common, as you know, but studying classroom interactions helps teachers stay motivated, um, connected to connected to the joy of teaching, and curious. And recordings and transcripts also supports collaboration and problem solving with other teachers, and it deepens human understanding. What I mean by that is observing students talk reveals their emotions and ways of growing. Authors like Vivian Paley, I guess, um, says that classroom interaction uh, contain universal human uh, dilemmas that resonate even outside education. And understanding what students say leads to understanding who they are, which strengthens teacher student relationships. Typical patterns in classroom interaction. Um, since the 1970s, researchers have identified several common patterns in how teachers and students communicate. Five important features. Today, we're going to talk about five important features. First of all, turn-taking patterns. It's a very common pattern. It's initiation, response, evaluation, IRA. sequence. Invitation, response, evaluation. It's basically like the teacher asks a question, usually with a known answer, and the student responds, and the teacher evaluates. And it can lead to, like, if you use it in a bad way, it can lead to boring, unproductive lessons. And second one is question types. We have known answer questions and open-ended questions. I'm sorry, by the way, I'm kind of ill today. And known answer questions are also called test, guess what I'm thinking questions, or display. And only one correct answer exists, and the teacher already knows it. And open-ended questions are genuine, authentic, and divergent questions. No single correct answer. The teacher genuinely wants information in here, more likely to lead discussion rather than strict IRA patterns. And third one is contextualization cues. These are non-linguistic signals such as tone, pitch, volume, and what was it? Intonation, etc. They show how something should be interpreted. Like, are you excited, sarcastic, serious, bored? And in here, teachers' monotone, flat intonation signals can create boredom and discourages participation. And fourth one is narrative storytelling. It's teachers often use stories to set context, grab attention, or explain content. And teachers' monotone delivery and repeated IRE questions ruin the effect in here. And we have last one, participation structures. These are like whole class discussions, small groups, check-ins, quick writes, etc. Different structures lead to different levels of interaction and engagement. No, no inherently good or bad. Teachers must understand how each affects student participation. And now we're going to talk about how context shapes classroom interaction. First one is classrooms are unique interactional contexts. I mean, people changes their speaking style when they enter a classroom, whether they're teachers, students, or visitors. In class, long stories, um, language play, creativity, and multiple languages may be limited. Even if these are welcomed in a family or peer settings, these are limited in classrooms, and classroom expectations shape what kinds of language students feel permitted to use. And second one is different activities create different contexts. Even within the same classroom, language changes depending on the activity. For example, um, official lesson talk, let's say, it allows certain kinds of speech, while after lesson talk may allow personal stories, right? All of us, I'm sure, all of us stayed after lessons during high school or secondary school and talked with our teachers, shared our personal stories, personal journey, and um, participation structures such as small groups, pair work, or peer tutoring create mini contexts, like allowing more peer-like or family-like communication styles. And third one is students bring their home language contexts. It's students develop language patterns from their home environment, which may differ from school expectations. Uh, differences in differences in reasoning or problem-solving styles can cause misunderstandings in class. Yeah, and understanding these helps teachers value students' existing knowledge and allows teacher to explain school logic without dismissing students' real-life reasoning. And fourth one is context can evolve through students' contributions. Like sometimes students bring new ways of speaking into the classroom, right? Storytelling styles, question answer routines, etc. And when teachers incorporate these home language practices into lessons, participation improves. And this helps students feel more included and increases their success. Now I'm going to talk about communicative repertories in classroom interaction. Okay, classrooms are full of individual differences in communication. Students and teachers often come from different generations, countries, languages, backgrounds, cultures, online communities, and even when everyone speaks English, they may use it differently for asking questions, telling stories, greeting people, or using body language. And now I'm going to talk about some key ideas here. First one is classrooms contain multiple communicative repertories. It's basically like students differ in how they respond to teachers or how they participate and how they use nonverbal communication. And these differences shape everyday classroom. And we had an example in here, a multilingual classroom. One English literature teacher worked with students from 10 to 15 countries speaking many languages. He encouraged them to use their home language in assignments and to share their aspects of their communicative repertories. And as a result, students learned not only English literature but also bits of their languages, like developing appreciation for multilingualism. They learned of the other languages, right? And third one is principles of the communicative repertoire approach. Okay. Um, we have some key ideas here. Communication comes before correctness. Okay, like don't focus on only perfect grammar. And reporters shift with context. Some classes may encourage informal or multilingual talk, but others not. And not all reportees are treated equally. Some ways of speaking are um, legitimized more than others. And repertories include more than one language and more than language. Like posture, clothing, gestures are also so important. Growth happens through expansion. Like becoming a better communicator means adding new way of speaking and not limiting them or not limiting yourself. And we can mix repertoires, like people combine languages and styles creatively in conversation, which is, I think, so good. And why this perspective matters? Because looking at classrooms through a repertoire lens helps teachers recognize students, find common ground among students, use repertoire diversity as a classroom asset, and build community. And now we're going to talk about predictable and unpredictable interaction in classrooms. Okay. Um, Classrooms bring together many different communication habits. We mentioned that students have developed throughout their lives, even though classroom routines seem predictable. Anything can happen in a discussion because everyone brings a unique communicator repertoire, their own ways of telling things, their own ways of speaking, using language, gestures, or responding, etc. And now I'm going to talk about the individual versus social expectation paradox. Okay. Um, to express yourself uniquely, um, others must first recognize you as a person. What I mean by that is this means individuals must still follow some shared social rules in communication, like basic greetings or responding when they addressed, And classroom repertoires are huge but often unused. And it means students may know multiple languages. Um, and this ain't y'all things and ways of speaking. And but the classroom usually uses only a small part of these repertoires, which can silence many voices. And good classrooms expand students' repertoires by recognizing and using these hidden communicator skills. Predictability in interaction. Like we have most classroom talk follows predictable two-part sequences called uh how can I pronounce it? Adjacency pairs. Like greeting to greeting, a question answer, apology acceptance, invitation acceptance. People are trained from childhood to respond these patterns, right? And if a student doesn't respond these things, teachers will assume that something is wrong, like whether they're tired or confused or bored, this kind of things. And third one is when predictability fails, the problem of silence. Like silence means different things depending on the classroom. In traditional classroom, silence means I don't know the answer. In query-based classrooms, silence means I'm thinking right now. And we had have teacher Karen. Karen transformed her classroom by analyzing such silences and shifting how she asked questions. And fourth one is changing question types to include more voices. Um, you know, uh, Galas found that abstract and technical questions make students silent. And when she rephrased them by using personal pronouns or everyday experiences, then students participated more. And example, she used it like what is gravity instead of what is gravity? Why when you jump you come down? She asked like that. Or while instead asking where do dreams come from, she asked how do dreams get into our heads? The structure, like question answer, stayed the same. It's still a question, but the repertoire, like it changed something familiar and personal, right? You can feel it. And interactional contingency, meaning changes based on what happens next. What someone says, and even silence. What I mean is even silence gets its meaning from what happens afterward. Like, student gives a long answer about hats. The teacher repeats the question uh, instead of responding. Like this reshapes the student's answer as irrelevant or wrong. But skilled teachers can turn unexpected answers into learning opportunities. And last one is productive use of unexpected answers. Okay, Gala shows that how to treat surprising students' comments as valuable. For example, a student says, it's just like caterpillars while discussing baby growth. And instead of dismissing it, God said, go ahead, like let the student talk, let the student explain. And the answer becomes a metaphor that helps thinking and most importantly helps discussion, right? This is the most important thing. And now I'm going to talk about hotspots in classroom interaction. Okay, a key way to understand interaction in classrooms is to look for hotspots. Hotspots are the moments where what we expect to happen in a conversation doesn't happen, okay? Like these are places where normal interaction patterns break down or take an unexpected turn. And hotspots occur, for example, a predictable question gets an unpredictable answer, right? And a student feels an expected response with something surprising or off topic, out of the topic, or a routine sequence doesn't unfold, doesn't go as we planned. And we had here Danny's long story about train hats, right? Like when asked if men wear hats now, and also, uh, as I mentioned before, Germain's comparison of babies to caterpillars in a science discussion. Both responses follow the expected structure, question answer structure, but the content is what unexpected, which foils the teacher's expectations, right? And teachers often only notice these moments later when reflecting on the day. Identifying hotspots in transcripts helps teacher to see where the communication broke down, understand the other possibilities, the alternative possibilities, and discuss solution with colleagues. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. That was all. Uh, I hope you liked it. See you in next week's. Bye.